The bullet wound should have killed him 3 times over. Thaddeus Deadeye Crane sat slumped against the weathered boards of a forgotten barn, blood pooling in the dirt beneath him. The Arizona sun hammered down like God's own anvil, but he didn't feel heat anymore. Hadn't felt much of anything in years except the cold weight of the curse that lived under his skin. His hand pressed against the hole in his side where the outlaw's bullet had torn through. Should be dying. Should be screaming. Instead, he just watched the blood slow, watched his flesh knit itself back together like thread on a loom. Same as always. Same as the knife wound in Tombstone. Same as the hanging in Silver Creek that left rope burns but no death. "Darlin, I'm cursed," he muttered to nobody, voice dry as desert bone. The words hung in the scorching air, truth spoken to dust and silence. Then he heard footsteps. Light. Careful. Female. Thaddeus lifted his head, gray eyes focusing through the pain that refused to finish what it started. A woman stood at the barn's edge, silhouetted against the brutal sunlight. She wore a faded calico dress, hair pulled back severe, and carried a shotgun like she knew how to use it. "You the one been bleeding all over my property?" Her voice cut sharp, no fear in it. He blinked. "Your property?" "Cassidy Brennan. I own this land, such as it is." She stepped closer, shotgun still leveled. "And you're trespassing while dying, which is right inconvenient." Thaddeus looked down at his wound. The bleeding had stopped completely now. The hole was closing, skin crawling over itself in ways that made strong men retch. He'd learned to look away himself. "I ain't dying, ma'am. Wish I could." Cassidy's eyes narrowed. She moved closer, lowering the shotgun slightly as she studied the wound. Her breath caught. "That's not possible." "No, it ain't. But here we are." She knelt beside him, one hand reaching out, then stopping just short of touching. "How long?" "Since I was 22. I'm 38 now, though I look the same as the day it started." Thaddeus met her gaze. "Been 16 years of not dying when I should. When I want to." Cassidy's fingers hovered over the healing wound, trembling slightly. "What happened to you?" "Apache medicine woman. Down in the Gila Valley." His voice went flat, remembering. "I was riding with a bad crew then. We raided her village, killed her son. She laid hands on me while I was bleeding out from a gut shot, spoke words in a language older than dirt. Said I'd walk until I learned what death cost. Until I understood what I'd taken. She cursed you with life. It wasn't a question. With endless life. Can't die, can't age, can't even stay hurt. Every wound heals. Every poison passes. Every rope breaks." Thaddeus shook his head. "Watched 16 sunsets for every year since, knowing I'd wake up to 16 more. Known 12 good men die beside me while I walked away. Lost a wife to fever while I couldn't even catch a cold." Cassidy sat back on her heels, shotgun forgotten in the dust. "Why tell me this?" "Because you asked. And because I'm tired of lying about it." He pushed himself upright, the wound now just a pink scar. "I'll move on, ma'am. Don't mean to trouble you further." "Wait." Her hand shot out, fingers wrapping around his wrist. The moment her skin touched his, everything changed. Thaddeus gasped. Pain flared through his arm, sharp and real and blessedly mortal. His heart, which had beat steady through bullets and blades, stuttered. For the first time in 16 years, his body remembered what it meant to be fragile. Cassidy yanked her hand back, eyes wide. "What was that?" He stared at his wrist where her fingers had been. The skin there looked different, felt different. Alive in a way the rest of him hadn't been in years. "You touched me. I noticed." "No, you don't understand." Thaddeus grabbed her hand again, pressing her palm against his chest. His heart hammered irregular, mortal, breakable. "Nobody's touch has done anything since the curse. Nothing reaches through. But you." She pulled away again, breathing hard. "I don't have magic. I'm just a widow trying to keep a failing ranch alive. Maybe that's exactly why." He stood, testing his weight. His side ached now, properly ached like a healing wound should. The sensation was fleeting, but gloriously sharp. The curse was about death. About understanding what I'd stolen. Maybe you, knowing loss yourself. "Don't." Cassidy rose too, picking up her shotgun. "Don't make me into some mystical answer to your problems. I got enough of my own." Thaddeus watched her, really looked this time. Saw the worn dress mended a dozen times, the calluses on her hands, the lean hunger in her face that spoke of missed meals. Saw the wedding ring still on her finger, and the rifle marks in the barn wood from practice she couldn't afford ammunition for. "How long?" he asked. "Since Henry died?" 18 months. Influenza took him fast. She turned away. Left me with 300 acres I can't work, cattle I can't round up alone, and debt that grows every day. I could help. With what? Your curse. But there was hope in her voice, small and desperate. With work. With time. I got nothing but time. Thaddeus moved to stand in front of her. Let me stay. Help you save this place. I don't need pay, don't need comfort. Just need somewhere to be while I figure out what your touch means. Cassidy studied him, weighing options that probably all looked equally poor. You can really not die? Want me to prove it? No. She shook her head quickly. But I got rules. You work dawn to dark. You sleep in the barn. And you keep whatever curse you got away from me unless absolutely necessary. Deal. He extended his hand. She hesitated, then shook it. Again, that jolt of mortality flared through him. His pulse jumped, his lungs burned, his muscles ached. When she released him, it faded, but slower this time. The brief cut on his wrist from the barbed wire fence, which should have been gone, now remained as a faint red line for a full hour. It was an echo. Welcome to the Brennan Ranch, Cassidy said. Try not to get shot again on my property. Thaddeus almost smiled. Yes, ma'am. 3 weeks passed in a blur of sweat and labor. Thaddeus worked like a man possessed, which in a way he was. He repaired fences, rounded up cattle, and built a new corral. He was relentlessly efficient, incapable of true fatigue. Cassidy brought dinner to the barn every evening. They spoke only of feed and weather, the silence between them a living thing. The tension, however, was in the small, seemingly accidental ways they started interacting. He'd take a wrench from her hand, their fingers brushing for a fraction of a second. He'd brush past her in the close confines of the barn doorway. Each time, Thaddeus felt a faint jolt, like electricity across his skin. And each time, he noticed the healing delay lasting longer. A deep bruise on his thigh took a full night to vanish now, not just an hour. The constant instant healing was failing, replaced by a strange, accelerated healing. The touch was cumulative. He was actively testing the limits of the curse, quietly seeking the next jolt. One evening, Thaddeus was patching a hole in the roof. A rusty nail sliced through the pad of his thumb. He simply pulled it out and kept working. Cassidy, below him, looked up. Doesn't it hurt? She asked, her voice low. A little, Thaddeus replied, watching the skin seal. But not the way a bruise does when it means you got to be careful. You don't have to be careful. Exactly, he said, the word heavy with 16 years of weariness. Later that week, Thaddeus found Cassidy sitting on the porch steps, bathed in moonlight. She wasn't crying, but she held a faded photograph in her hands, her shoulders shaking with silent, exhausted grief. Thaddeus approached, drawn by her pain. He stopped 3 feet away, his hand hovering, unable to cross the gap. He understood then that his curse was not just immortality, but the inability to truly connect, to offer comfort born of shared vulnerability. The cold weight of his perpetual existence was never heavier than in that moment of watching her mourn. I'll be up early to ride the south line, he simply said before retreating, until the rustlers came. Thaddeus was checking the north pasture fence when he heard gunfire from the main house. He ran, covering a mile of rough country in minutes, cursed lungs never tiring. Reached the yard to find 3 men on horseback, guns drawn, with Cassidy backed against the porch. We ain't asking again, widow, the lead rider snarled. Hand over the deed, or we take it off your corpse. Over my dead body, Cassidy said. The man raised his pistol. That's the idea. Thaddeus drew and fired before the thought finished forming. His bullet took the gunman's hat clean off. All 3 riders spun toward him. Leave. Now. Who the hell are you? The leader spat tobacco juice. Someone you can't kill. Thaddeus walked forward slow, gun steady. And trust me, you'll try. The second rider fired. The bullet punched through Thaddeus's shoulder, spinning him halfway around. He straightened, blood spreading across his shirt, and kept walking. Fired again, hitting the shooter's gun hand. I told you. The third man unloaded 3 shots center mass. Thaddeus stumbled, went to one knee, blood bubbling from his chest. Then he stood up again. My turn. He shot the horse out from under the third man, put a bullet through the leader's rifle, then fired 3 times into the air so fast it sounded like one long thunderclap. Next round goes through knees. You'll live, but you'll crawl. His voice went cold as January wind. But you'll wish I'd aimed higher. The rustlers ran. Thaddeus waited until the dust settled, then walked to the porch. Cassidy stared at him, at the 3 bleeding holes in his shirt that were already closing, but slower than before, a direct result of their previous contacts. You got shot 4 times. Yes, ma'am. And you're standing. That's the curse. She sat down hard on the porch steps. They'll come back. Bring more men. I can't fight the Deacon gang. The Deacon gang? Thaddeus holstered his gun. Those were Deacon's boys? Marcus Deacon owns half the territory through intimidation. Wants my land because the creek runs through it year-round. Cassidy's voice cracked. I'm dead either way. Today, tomorrow, or next week. Thaddeus sat beside her. Close enough to feel her warmth, far enough that they didn't touch. Not if I'm here. You can't fight them all. No, but I can't die either. That's got to count for something. She laughed, sharp and bitter. You're insane. Been called worse. He looked at his healing wounds. But I'm also right here. Offering. Cassidy turned to face him. Why? Why help me? You could walk away, find somewhere peaceful to wait out your curse. Why stay and fight? Thaddeus thought about the moment on the porch, watching her grieve. Because maybe this is what I'm supposed to learn, he said. That life ain't about lasting forever. It's about what you choose to defend. It's about the time someone's got, even if it ain't yours. She studied him for a long moment, then reached out and took his hand. The mortality crashed through him like a dam breaking. His heart seized, his breath caught, every healed wound ached like fresh fire. But underneath the pain was something else. Something that felt like purpose. Help me save the ranch, Cassidy said. And I'll help you break your curse. You don't know if you can. No, but I'm the only one whose touch matters. She squeezed his hand tighter. That's got to mean something. Thaddeus felt his pulse hammering in his throat, felt the beautiful agony of being alive and fragile. Deal. They didn't let go. The Deacon gang returned 5 days later with 12 men. Thaddeus met them at the property line, sitting his horse like he owned the sunset. Behind him, Cassidy stood on the porch with her shotgun, looking small and determined and absolutely unmoving. Marcus Deacon himself led the group. Big man, cruel eyes, wearing a deputy's badge he'd bought with blood money. You got a death wish, Gunslinger? Already got one. Didn't take. Brave words for a man facing 12 guns. Accurate words for a man who can't die. Thaddeus urged his horse forward 3 steps. Here's how this plays. You leave. The widow keeps her land. Nobody dies today. Deacon laughed. And why would I do that? Because I'll make an example of you otherwise. The gang spread out, surrounding him. Thaddeus didn't move. Last chance, he said. Deacon drew first. What followed wasn't a gunfight. It was education. Thaddeus took Deacon's bullet in the gut, another in the leg, a third that grazed his skull. He shot back while falling, taking 2 men's gun hands and another's knee. Hit the ground rolling, came up firing, putting bullets through arms and shoulders with surgical precision. They unloaded on him. 20 shots, maybe more. Each one hit, tore through him, should have ended it. He dropped twice, got back up both times, blood painting his clothes red. But he didn't stop shooting. When his guns emptied, he drew knives. Cut through them like wheat, disarming, wounding, never killing but making every man wish he had. His body healed between exchanges, wounds closing, but the process was agonizingly slow now, the cumulative effect of Cassidy's touch. It lasted 5 minutes. Felt like 5 hours. When the dust settled, 11 men lay groaning in the dirt, clutching injuries that would heal but wouldn't be forgotten. Deacon knelt in front of Thaddeus, both his gun hands shattered, his badge trampled in the blood mud. You ain't human, Deacon gasped. No, I'm cursed. Thaddeus pressed his gun barrel against Deacon's forehead. But I remember being human. Remember what it meant when Henry Brennan worked this land honest. Remember that his widows got more right to it than you got to breathing. He pulled the gun back. Spread the word. The Brennan Ranch is protected. Anyone comes for it answers to me. And I don't die easy. Deacon and his broken gang fled. Thaddeus stood in the settling dust, riddled with holes that were already closing, but barely. His shirt hung in tatters, blood everywhere. He swayed, the slow healing finally demanding a toll. Cassidy appeared beside him, her dress kicking up red dirt. You all right? Never better. Never worse. He swayed. Might sit down, though. She caught him as his knees buckled. The moment her arms wrapped around him, his body remembered how to hurt properly. Every wound flared, every bullet track burned. He gasped against her shoulder, and the pain was perfect. I got you, she whispered. I know. His voice cracked. That's the problem. She helped him to the porch, sat him down gentle. Her hands stayed on his shoulders, and through that contact his immortality flickered, dying. He felt fever rising from the wounds, felt infection's first whisper, felt his body struggling the way bodies should. "It's getting stronger," Cassidy said, awe in her voice. "Your curse. It's weakening when I touch you. It's almost gone. I can feel it." Thaddeus met her eyes. "I can feel everything. Pain, exhaustion, hunger. Things I haven't felt since the medicine woman spoke her words. I could kill you," she realized, "if I held on long enough. You are mortal now." "Yes. Is that what you want?" Thaddeus caught her hand, held it against his stuttering heart. "I thought so. For 16 years, I thought death was the answer. But now I see the price of my life is standing here with you, choosing to defend what is mortal and breakable." Cassidy's eyes filled with tears. "Don't put that on me. I ain't. I'm just saying the curse breaks when I finally get it. When I choose to live instead of begging to die." She pulled her hand away slowly. His body, now fully mortal, kept hurting. The pain didn't vanish. The wounds, though healing, remained. The beautiful agony remained. "The Deacon gang will lick their wounds and come back worse," Cassidy said, voice steady despite the tears. "Marcus has friends in Santa Fe. He'll bring the law. You can't fight the whole territory." "No, but I can give you time." Thaddeus stood, testing his now fragile, achingly human body. "Time to sell the ranch, take the money, start fresh somewhere Deacon can't reach. This is my home. Your home will be your grave if you stay." "Come with me," Cassidy said suddenly. "What? If I run, come with me. Help me start over." She stepped closer. "You said you needed purpose. Be my purpose. I'll be yours." Thaddeus felt something crack in his chest that had nothing to do with bullets. "I'm breakable now. So am I. With debt and grief and a dead husband's dream that's killing me." She took his hand again, and again his fully restored mortality surged. "But maybe two curses make a blessing. I don't know if I can break it completely. I'm still alive. Then we don't break it. We live with it." Cassidy's voice went fierce. "You think I care if you can finally die? I watched Henry waste away over 3 weeks, helpless to stop it. At least with you, I'd know you'd wake up each morning. That's not life. That's imprisonment. No, imprisonment is being alone with your curse." She pressed closer, and his knees weakened with beautiful, terrible mortality. "This is partnership. Your long days, my borrowed time. Together until one or both of us figures out how to be whole." "You're insane," he whispered. "Been called worse." She smiled through tears. "Is that a yes?" He leaned in and kissed her. The moment their lips met, the final, lingering remnants of the curse shattered. Not broke. Shattered. 16 years of forced immortality exploded outward from where they touched. Thaddeus felt every day of those years crash through him. Felt every wound that should have killed him, every pain denied, every death he'd been robbed of. But also felt life. Real, fragile, burning life. He gasped against her mouth, his heart seizing then starting again, truly mortal. Every breath was fire. Every heartbeat was prayer. Cassidy held him as he collapsed, her arms the only thing keeping him from hitting the porch boards. "Thaddeus, I can die," he choked out. "I can feel it. I'm breakable again. The curse broke. The curse broke." He looked up at her, eyes streaming. "Your touch. Your choice. You broke it." She laughed, crying too. "How?" "I think I finally chose to live," he said, pulling himself upright with her help. "When you offered yourself knowing what I was, knowing you risked your future, I finally understood the cost of a life worth keeping." They sat together on the porch as the sun set over the Brennan Ranch. His heart beat steady now, mortal and sure. Hers matched it. 2 rhythms finding synchronization. "We'll sell the ranch," she decided. "Take the money and run before Deacon regroups. Start fresh in California maybe. Somewhere with water and hope." "Sounds good. You really all right with being mortal again?" Thaddeus took her hand, felt his pulse jump at the contact, felt alive in ways 16 years had stolen. "I'm better than all right. I'm human again. And that's worth more than all the immortality in the world." They sat until the stars filled the sky, 2 people freed from different curses, planning a future neither had thought possible. The desert wind blew cool and clean. And Thaddeus Crane, once known as Deadeye, once cursed with endless life, finally understood the value of a single, uncertain day. His curse was broken. His heart was whole. And for the first time in 16 years, tomorrow was a gift instead of a burden. He was finally, blessedly, wonderfully mortal again. And he'd never felt more alive. Thank you for watching. If this story of second chances, true connection, and the value of mortality resonated with you, Please like this video and subscribe for more stories of the strange and the beautiful. Let me know in the comments. What do you think the next chapter for Thaddeus and Cassidy will be? And where are you watching from?